Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing, coming to you with part 2 of our mini lapbook journal series. This journal is called Aviva, and I just chose to use that name because that's the name of the kit. The kit is from Sweet Pea Curiosities, and let me just review the measurements, and I'll link the video 1 in the series down below. So in order to make this size journal, I set my print for my digitals to 25%. The original size in the digitals I used was 97%. So as I mentioned in video 1, you would want to make sure that that you print your pages first and shrink them down to where you want them to be before you start making your cover, just to make sure that everything fits nicely. The cover measures 1 5/8 by 2 3/8. The pages measure 1 3/8 by 2 1/8. There's a main spine that measures 1 inch. Additional spines, the smaller spines are 1/2 inch, and the inside cover pieces are 1 3/8 by 2 3/8. So I'm going to hold that up in case you want to grab a snapshot. You will want to go back to video 1 though to see. I provided some screenshots of how I changed that in my printer settings. Now every printer is different, so I can't guarantee that it's going to work for you with my screenshot. So just a little disclaimer there. So in today's video, we're going to make the topper. Yay! The topper is so fun. It's going to be a removable topper, similar to what I did in the my collaboration video for Rachel Bella Crafts and Angela Kerr Designs, where I created the miniature journal. Do I have that right here? Do I? I do not see it, but it is very, very small. So it could be just so small that I can't visually see it. I thought I kept it here so that I would be able to reference it, but I do not honestly see it within my view. Oh, there it is. So this is the journal that we made. We didn't make the journal on camera, we just did the topper and we did the crackle effect on the cover. So in video 1 we did the crackle on this one using this beautiful cobalt turquoise paint and raw umber fluid acrylic for the base color. So I'm so proud of myself. I don't know if you guys saw in a video, I was trying to do some stitching by just sewing a button on, and I couldn't find a needle to work, so I just picked this up from, come on, open. It got bent in the shipping. I have no need for needles anymore, and they will all stay in here and be epically easy to access. So supplies, I've got some really small and lightweight wax thread that I'm going to use for the signatures. I've got my Barely Arts glue. Not sure if I'm going to need that or not. I've got my gesso because we're going to prep our cardboard, similar to what I did in the other video for the other mini lap book. I've got my raw umber fluid acrylic to do a little bit of a glaze grunginess. Matte medium is part of the glaze process, so we'll talk about that in a moment. I've got my Fabri-Tac, which we won't need right now. I've got my vintage photo archival ink, and these are all the bits. Let me show you how small these are, you guys. Look at the pockets. I had a hard time cutting that little divot. This is, I think, like a, I don't know, a belly. It can't be a belly band because it's not the same size, but we've got little pockets. We've got little images, like little journal cards, more pockets. Aren't those just the sweetest ever? And then we've got these bigger pieces. I'm not sure if these are like supposed to be like a booklet. I think I'm going to make a little booklet out of them. But you can use ephemera any way you choose. Alter it to your desired effect. And so that is a lot of the pieces. And look at these little images. So sweet. And then I love this. Look at this. The trouble is I can't punch that hole out because I don't have a punch that's gonna work, but we'll tackle that when we get there. So yeah, really, really beautiful little bits, tiny. I do not like to fussy cut, and so fussy cutting really tiny things is really not my jam either. But I wanted to show you what those look like all shrunken down. So we are not going to need the cover. I just wanted to bring it on camera. I believe I said in video 1 I would come back and show you what it looked like when it was nice and dry. It's been setting for well over a week, probably a week and a half, and so it's nice and dry. I did do a satin varnish finish on it because I don't want any of that to chip away, you know, and be affected by being, you know, bumped up against things and whatnot. So that's what she looks like. She needs a little bit of training because, you know, can see that it kind of wants to still pop because it's so small, and I use chipboard to make the cover. So one could definitely use cereal boxes, cracker boxes, anything kind of recycled material. I really love the structural soundness of chipboard, and so that's what I choose to use. Again, you can use whatever you like. So I'm going to set that aside. We don't need it right now. But because we're going to do a mixed media topper, I want to start with prepping this cardboard. So it's just a tiny piece of cardboard that's going to go on the front cover. And that might be a little bit big. I might cut that down just a smidge more because I don't want it to really rob us of the beautiful background. So I'm just going to trim a little bit more off there. I thank you for all your prayers and well wishes for my sickness. I did, this is Saturday, May the 4th, and I did end up working all week, thankfully. I was coming home daily after work and sleeping, and then getting up and having a bite to eat for dinner and then going to bed. So I did get a lot of rest. So thank you so much, guys. I'm feeling much better. Still a little bit stuffy, but definitely over the hump. So what I like to do is pull away some of the topper of this. So I'm just going to pull that away. And one of my beautiful subscribers said, Cara-Renee, don't fuss with that. Spray it with a little bit of water, let it set for a couple minutes. But I'm working with just such a little piece here. I'm not too terribly concerned about it. I am sweating so bad in here. My husband has the heat cranked on in the house, and so I am warm. Probably a little bit of that still, my body's still trying to be okay, but just continue to peel this away. So I like to expose just about that much is really perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and move that. And I'm going to take off my little jacket here. That's not going to work. Okay. So what we want to do is put a little bit of coat of gesso on this. So I'm going to grab a mat here. And this will give me a chance to be able to transfer it as well to a place to dry while we continue on. So what I like to do is create a little bit of a glaze here, and I didn't even grab a brush. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let me grab a small brush. And we're going to go ahead and apply some gesso, not the glaze yet, gesso. I just like to keep it in this little pot because I had it in a bigger container and it actually went bad. It completely separated and I couldn't reconstitute it. So I don't want to be wasteful that way. So I'm going to give this a coat of gesso. I do want it to get it in those crevices as well, because cardboard will just absorb any paint that you put on it because it's compressed paper basically. So this will create a barrier just like that. Okay. So I'm going to set this in some water if I've got some here. Yep, I do. Perfect. I'm going to set this aside. We'll come back to it. So what do we want to do first? Let's work on the signature. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a hidden spine. I'm going to move this camera. I'm going to zoom in here so you can see a little bit better. Whoops, I'm a little too far. There we go. So we're going to create a hidden spine, and basically what a hidden spine does is it creates an opportunity where you can put the spine in here and you don't have any strings coming out the outside. I really, really love that effect. It's one of my go-to techniques, so we're going to do that together, and I thought, why not do it on the mini journal and show off our skills? So let me show you what I have here. So I cut a piece of chipboard that measures 1 7/8 by 2 3/8. So it is smaller than the spine, and that's because you don't want, when you fold this, you don't want it to bind. So we've got a little bit of room, a little bit of wiggle room for that, like so. Really, really important. I've done it when I first started doing hidden spines. I would make them too big, and then I actually had to try to trim it off once it was already glued on because I wasn't being careful. So don't do what I do. So that's our hidden spine piece. This is going to go over the hidden spine because we want to have it be pretty and covered. So I just took the kit, a page from the kit that had a lot of just really kind of mixed media, grungy look, and I printed 4 to a page just so I could get sort of a smallish kind of design, but bigger. I needed it to be bigger than any of the digitals printing at 25%. So that's what I did there. This is our template. So let's start with the template. I'm going to go ahead and fold this in half. This is my my go-to method for lining everything up. So I'm going to go ahead and just give that a crease. Let me grab my bone folder here. Okay, so that is our middle, that's our middle point, right? And because this is so small, I'm not gonna, normally I would fold it, it's because it's only like not even, you know, it's a little over an inch wide. Normally I would fold again here and fold this section in this side into this middle, but it's gonna be really hard with this size of paper. So I'm gonna be okay with just doing one this way and this way. So then you're gonna fold it in half. And then again, give that a good burnish. We're going to ink it so that you guys can see it a little bit better on camera. Pardon me. Then we're going to fold this end into the center because this is going to create our place for our 3, or the distance between our 3 holes. So burnish that. We're going to do the same with the other end. Fold it into the center. Beautiful. Beautiful. Alrighty. So we're going to go ahead and ink this again, just because I want you guys to be able to see. Put that cap on. We don't need to see the outside edges, just these inside edges. So I'm going to ink up so that we can see all of that. Now, in a typical journal, just as I mentioned, I would fold this edge into the center, this edge into the center to get a 3rd line. I would also do the same here, but we're going to estimate. So I would try to aim for my hole being about halfway between this bottom edge and that fold. But this is, again, really hard. Well, let's try it with this paper. We got a little bit more flexibility. Because we've got a little, yeah, I don't know. We're going to give it a try. I'm so sorry, guys. And again, with the bottom, we may as well just show you how it actually is done, right? Instead of shortcutting it. I worry about the length of my videos, so I'm always thinking about your time, and I know there's so much that you all want to do and see and watch, you know, on YouTube with other creators and whatnot. So that basically means I'm going to get a pin so I can show you. That means this is where a hole is going to be. It's not going to be in the center, but I'm just showing you just for the sake of the tutorial, like that. But ours are going to go out a little bit, okay? So they're not going to be in the center because we only have 2 signatures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just come out about right here, okay? Right there and right there. So normally I would be, again, folding that so I would get a precise measurement, but I'm not worried about that. Here, here, and here. Now, if we wanted a 3rd signature, we could have put one in the center there, but we're not doing that. There and there, okay? I'm going to grab my little foam pad so we can poke some holes. I had a big, large foam pad, and I just cut it up to get a smaller bit. So let's hope that I have an all out. Oh, I have my pokey tool. Let's just use the pokey tool. Boom, pokey tool. Okay, so, oh, I forgot to put this on though. No, we don't want that on. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and glue this on to the hidden spine piece. So let me ink this up just a smidge. Okay, we're going to glue that on, and I'm just going to use my Fabri-Tac just in case I get it off. I can correct that. Everything's so small, it's hard to work with. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and put this on there, and then we'll pick it up and move it around. Okay, boom, easy peasy. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to just lay this down here, and we're going to lay our template on here. Okay, and we're going to hope it doesn't move because that's important. Ish. Okay, so now I'm going to use my pokey tool, and I'm going to poke where I had those dots. So one, it's a little tough going through that chipboard. So one, it's a pretty big hole. I should have grabbed my smaller awl, but that's okay. Just want to make sure you get it through that chipboard. That's the most important part. And then, oh, we moved a little bit. That's okay. And here. And then on the other side. All the way through, Cara-Renee. And then here. There we go. So now our holes are in our hidden spine. So it's imperfect, but you know, as I say, perfection is not at play. So I can see just by visually looking, it looks like it's closer to this edge than this edge, but again, I don't worry about perfection. Okay, so that is ready, and now we need to get the signatures ready. So I don't think it matters which is which, but let's go ahead and just open this up. Off camera, I did go ahead and ink everything up. And so I'm going to just secure this with paper clips here on the edges. And we're going to use the template for that purpose as well. But in this case, that black mark helps us because that's where we're going to be putting our marks for the signature. So you can see my template is as tall as my journal cover spine, not my journal pages spine. So you want to be mindful of that. Okay, so I'm looking and making sure that I have about the same amount sticking up the top as the bottom. I'm going to grab my pencil and I'm going to go ahead and make a mark here. Here, sorry, this is so small, it's going to be hard for you guys to see what I'm doing. And here. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm going to set that one aside and do the second one, and I'll show you how I do that, pierce my holes and all that. Super easy, not rocket science at all. Although, if you've never done this sort of thing, it could feel intimidating. So if you were trying this for the first time, I would suggest you try it with a one signature plan. So that it doesn't get too overwhelming. Now, in order to see that fold, you could ink that, and that might help you. But I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to just get it in there and make sure that it's even-ish from top to bottom. Okay, and I'm going to make a hole, or make a mark here. There. There. Sometimes I don't get the pencil marks exactly where they need to go in terms of the center, but I'll be able to see this once I take it off. So looks like one is a little bit off, but I'll be using my I'll be watching that. So I'm just trying to find my skinnier ball. Oh, there, it was right there all the time. This one is not as fat, so we're going to use it. So I can go ahead and move those, and then we're going to go ahead. I like to hold this kind of at a 90-degree angle and then poke my hole through so that I make sure that I get it in the spine, the fold of every page. So I'm just going to poke that through, and I'm going to do the same here. That's a little close to the top. Goodness gracious, Cara-Renee. I'm just going to flip that so I can get to this easier. Okay. Let's do the same with this one. And if you're new, my greatest tip would be to try to let go of perfection if you can. Try to let go of the need to have everything be precise and as you pictured it. Sometimes in art, it doesn't end up the way that you pictured it, and that's okay. So now our two signatures are ready. We're going to get some thread ready. I like to have my strings come out the bottom of the journal, so I'm going to do a little bit over 3 lengths of thread, and I'm going to do that twice. So then I just take this piece and measure it out approximately the same height. Whoops, make sure I didn't move that. Okay. This just saves you from having to get back to your thread again. Okay, let's open our fancy schmancy needles. So excited about this. Not happy about the tin. I'll probably find something else to put that in. But I don't need something super big because my thread is pretty small. So this one should work. And I'm going to go ahead and thread my needle. And then I like to leave just a bit of a tail there. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to decide, you want to decide which one you want to be on the front, which is the first signature. I think I want this one. And so in order for my strings, oh, wait a minute. Let me think about this. Yeah, I do want my strings to come out the bottom, the inside of the center page here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in through this hole. You always want to make sure that you've got your signatures going the right direction. And I didn't go through that process with you, but I always like to, well, I did it last night when I was prepping for the video. So you want to make sure that within your signature, all your pages are going the right way. So this is the first signature. So I want it to go in the middle hole on the left side in your view. I'm going to just do that. Okay. Pull that through. Okay, hold on to your tail, go in through either the top or bottom hole, it does not matter which, and we're going to find that hole. It's hard to show this on camera, guys, so forgive me. There we go. Make sure that you're in the same row of holes, that you don't pop around and get it in the wrong place. Turn it back over. We're going to go down to the opposite hole, again, top or bottom, depending on where you start. And I'm going to poke that through that hole. Boom. I like this process too, I think, in large part because when you're sewing in signatures, it can be hard to finagle your journal and move it around when you've got all those pages. So this allows you to not have to fuss with the cover while you're trying to get your signatures bound. So that's one of the reasons why I love it. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we're going to make sure this is pulled nice and tight. We're going to go back through the center hole. I usually don't tighten until I get after this part because it's, again, tricky because we're working so small. I'm going to put this needle on the other side because you want one string on either side of the center string. I'm going to pull those paper clips off and we're going to give this a good tug. And then I like to go back to the back, make sure that everything feels nice and tight. Okay, kind of like strumming a guitar. Okay, I'm going to take your needle off. Got way too much thread here. It's okay. And we're going to go ahead and tie that twice. So one regular knot and one backwards knot. I think it's called a box knot, square knot. Come on. There we go. Boom. Okay, so then sometimes I'll leave one string longer than the other just for interest, but I generally clip them smaller anyway. So there is our first signature, okay? And I like to have a gap in between. So you'll see once we get that signature in, we're going to have a big gap in between. That allows for some growth in the signature, and it also allows you a place to put, if you wanted to put like a little folio or something in there, which we might play around with. We're going to have a couple more videos in the series, so we're going to explore making some tiny ephemera too, not just using the ephemera from the kit. So that's our first one. Let's go ahead and sew the second one in. We're not going to glue this into the cover yet because we want to work in these pages before we do that. So that'll be in another video. So boom. I didn't check that one, did I? It's good. Always check. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay, I'm going to cut that string off. Boom. Take those paper clips off. And then what I like to do is go ahead and clip this so that it kind of will start to train it to stay together. So I'm going to just grab a big clip and, well, I don't have to have a huge one. I don't have to have the Mondo one because this is a small little journal. So I just like to clip them and just kind of get that to start thinking about how it's going to stay together. And then when we glue this into the spine, we'll do the same thing. This will remain clipped. We'll put some, I use both Fabri-Tac and PVA glue to glue it into the cover, and then it just can dry just like that. It stands up really nice and it's really nifty. So that is that. We're done with that part. So let's get back to our corrugated cardboard. It should be nice and dry. Yes, beautiful. Okay, so the next step here is to create a little bit of a wash with our, not a wash, a glaze with our raw umber fluid acrylic. I'm going to grab my brush and the matte medium, but I'll show you that here. Get this in camera here. Goodness gracious. So this is such a tiny, tiny little thing. I'm just putting like a dot like that. A dot. And then 2 parts, 1 part paint to 2 parts fluid matte medium. I use Liquitex, and we're going to go ahead and put double that, okay? About right there. It's not an exact science, guys, so don't worry about it. We're going to mix that up. Okay. We're going to go ahead and brush it on. This is just going to colorize and give a really nice grungy texture to this corrugated cardboard. So one of my favorite techniques in mixed media is using corrugated cardboard. Just grabbing a baby wipe, and we're going to just kind of pounce that. That remained a really good color. I'm going to go ahead and use this extra though and just go back in and try to get more of that color into the holes. A lot of this is not going to show, so please don't worry about that. So there we go. We're going to do that. And then I'm going to be very gentle with my pouncing because I don't want to pull up that paint. Easy as that. Okay. Dump that back in my water. And I think we need to dry this because as we start to construct our topper, we need to be able to use this as a measurement for size of our pieces. So I'm going to take a moment and zap this with the heat tool, and I'll be right back. Okay, that should be good. So this is what she looks like, all grungied up. I love it. Okay, so what I do want to do is add a little bit of the cobalt turquoise, which is the color that I used on the cover. So I'm just going to squeeze just the smallest amount here on my mat, and I'm just going to use my finger to kind of get a little bit of that color just around the edges, because again, a lot of this is not going to show. And I just, we'll probably have to dry this again. My apologies. There we go. Lots of drying time in mixed media. Okay. I'm just going to wipe that. It's just a dot. It's just a dot. So let's go ahead and dry this too. Sorry for the back and forth. The fluid acrylics dry very, very fast. So one last step is we're going to put a little bit of gold because I want to make sure I don't lose the opportunity to put a little bit of gold on this. So I'm going to do the same, just put out just a little dot like that. That's the Golden Float Acrylic in Iridescent Gold Fine, which if you guys have been watching me, you know I use that a lot. So I'm just touching a little bit of gold here and there. Sometimes I overdo it and I wish I could take it back, but we're going to just be happy. There we go. That's a lot right there. So we're going to leave that because we might use that on some of our layering pieces there. So we'll leave that. I'm going to zap this one more time. It's the last. Okay, that should be good. So I'm just kind of moving this over because I don't want to get anything in that paint, but I don't want to throw it out. So these are the bits for our topper, kind of a collage bit. I'm going to need something to hold this mat down. Goodness gracious. Okay. So I thought I would use a bit of this. This is one of my vintage music paper. It's like an inside cover of a music book or, you know, one of those little pamphlet things. And I shrunk it down to, I think it was a little bit larger than 25% because I wanted it to be sort of readable, if that's even possible. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a rough tear because I want to capture that little old garden bit there. So, and we're going to do, I think I can cut a straight edge on this side because it's going to be a layer underneath. So I'm just going to cut that there. We may use a little more of that, we'll see. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to establish how big we want our collage piece. Oh, she's so big. She's way too big for this now. What did I do? Okay, well, that's all right. Let's see if we've got another one we can pick. Now, she's a little bit smaller. We could probably cut her down a little bit. She's just a little bit closer up. So I want her to be kind of straightish, so not all, you know, torn edges. So let's just wing it here, okay? And she's still too big, so let's cut off a little bit of the bottom here. Yeah, still too big. What do? We might have to grab one of those little, the little kind of journaling card pieces that we had in here. The only thing I didn't like about them is they're so thin, but we're going to have to do that. So let's see. That one. I don't really want one of those framed ones. Just getting some, oh, that's the exact same. No, it's not. It's different. A little bit different. Oh, I really like her. Yeah, let's do that one. Yeah, this one here. Bummer deal. It's okay. It happens. I'll finish tearing this off. It's too rough of an edge. So, so that's not our base though. So our base is going to be slightly bigger. So we can use one of these for that. So we're going to tear this one down so that it's just slightly smaller than that base, that cardboard base. So I'm going to go ahead and just tear off this edge. I'm going to tear it away from me to kind of try to minimize the white core edge there. And I'm going to tear this side as well. So small. So small. Okay. Oh, that's really cool. I don't see much of that cobalt turquoise. So let's see if we can do this in such a way that we can see some of that. So I'm just getting all rough edges around this. Yeah, I think that's okay. I can see everything now. So I'm going to ink this up. And I do need to reach and get a little, I don't have any little pieces of vintage lace. So let me just reach over here and grab this piece here. And we're just going to cut a bit off because we want a little bit of some beautiful layering. So I'm just going to cut a bit. I'm not quite ready for it, but I want to be, oh, we might put a little bit underneath it all the way across. So, because you can, well, still be able to see that cobalt turquoise. So, oh, that's so beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to cut it across that bottom. Sorry, I can't get any closer, you guys. That's as much as my camera will zoom in. So I'm hoping that you're not struggling to see what I'm doing. Oh, I love that edge right there too. Okay, yes, 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 yes. So we're going to go ahead and glue that on. We know we want it there, so, or I know I want it there. I'm going to put a generous amount of my Fabri-Tac because I want it to really kind of get down in those holes of the corrugated cardboard. Get that lace on there. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Just going to pick it up so that I can work with it a little bit. Kind of push that in there. All sticky fingered. Perfect. That's what she looks like. That is so precious. And you can still see the turquoise, which was my main goal. And so the only struggle that I'm having with this is it's going to be shorter than, well, I guess we could trim this down some more. Because we want it to not, we want everything to be kind of relatively sized the same. So I'm going to give that another tear. It's really about playing with kind of your arrangement a little bit. I want to leave that on there because it'll stay. So we're going to have a layer between that, so don't worry about that. So that's going to be great. This is a piece of embossed vellum. I thought we would incorporate. It's so big though. That's the only thing I don't like, because everything here that we're doing is so miniature, but we're going to go with it because I picked it. Oh, it could go under though, couldn't it? No, that would be weird. So let's get this teeny tiny. If I can tear it a bit more. This is embossed with texture paste, in case you're wondering. Oh, that would be really beautiful. Let's do that. I'm going to pick this up and kind of try to get it almost the same height as that piece, the base. Ish. It doesn't have to be perfect. Ink it up. Oh, that's so pretty. I'm glad we did that. Okay, so I'm feeling like I can put this down though, because I need to, sometimes I just have to start getting the pieces down in order to know what the next step is. It's not so abstract for me. So we're gonna get that on there. Oh, you know what I wanna do? I wanna put a little bit of this gold on there, just in, it's already drying up, goodness gracious. Now I've got ink and paint on my fingers. Ink and paint, that's okay. Just so long as I don't wipe it on my pants, you know? Do you ever do that? You forget? There we go. Love it. Get a baby wipe here. So cool! Oh my gosh, I love this so much. Okay. I almost am inclined to do the girl and just do her face. Just get my little tiny punch out and see if I can get a circle, because there's so much going on. Hopefully I'm not too muffled. I moved away from the camera, but I've got this size punch, so it's really the perfect size. I don't know what size it is, but it would be perfect to kind of cut a face out and use it instead of this teeny tiny straight piece that is so small that I cannot tear it now. So let's see, let's look one more time and see. That's going to be too, because I think this punch is, yeah, that's too small. Let me give this a moment thought, just a moment. We may have to go back to our first, oh, that's really pretty though. Look at her. I like her. She's got some lighter tones in the background. Look at that. I think that would be really lovely. Let's just stick with that. So I think I'm going to round the corners on this just to create a little bit of interest. This is tricky because, I mean, how do you really get it in here? It's got to be squared up in that corner. Beautiful. Okay, that makes me feel better in terms of using one of these shapes. So, oh yes. Okay. So let's go ahead and get this on as well. We may not put as many layers as I would normally put, but I do want to use this piece. So it's a little bit big. So let me tear it down just a smidge here and see if I can do that. And I got too much of an edge here. It's hard to tear this because it's 65-pound paper and it's so little that I'm like, oh, I don't want to ruin it. I don't get another chance at this. I only printed one. Okay, so I think I want that to go right here as a layer. It just means that, I wish it was smaller. Maybe we can take off the. Let's do that. Let's take off the, make it a little bit shorter. Yeah, there we go. Little garden, little old garden. Okay, so let's just set that on there for posterity's sake. Okay, this is so fiddly. I'm not going to put as many layers as I normally would because it's just so little, you know. But I'm debating on whether or not I want this to go over here and maybe put that piece of paper over it. Nope, don't want to do that. I think I want this on this side. And that just looks weird because she's so small. I think what I'd like to do is take this and cut it down and use it as a punch the same corners and see if I like that better, because I usually like to have this section here to be about the same size. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. Yes, 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 yes. It's a little bit too tall still, so I'm going to take just a smidge off the top. Okay, we need another layer there. Oh, the packaging. We've got it right in front of our face. I'm going to take a little bit of that. I'm going to set this on here just to get a measurement here, like so. I'm going to tear the bottom. Okay, I'm just going to hold those together and I'm going to ink that up. Perfect. You need a separating layer, in my opinion. I'm going to use my Barely Arts glue for this because it's such a thin paper. It's just a piece of packaging. Okay, I'm going to put that, whoops. So stinking little. Oh my gosh, so little. Put that on there. I like to see that the flower sticking out here. Come on, come down. Okay, you're stuck. That's all right. And let's go ahead and get that on. Oh, now we're going to lose that. Should have done that differently. Can I get it off still? Yes, I can. I feel like I need this here instead. Sorry for the change in plans. I'm going to use my white glue. There we go. Yeah, that will be good. And then we'll put this here. It's not going to really show. Maybe we should put it out the other side. Let's just go with it. Oh, this is going to be covered up. Just like to have the bottom layers peeking through like that. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see it. I wish I could get closer while working, but I can't. And then we've got this bit. So let's put that right there. I feel like this needs to go over, but I don't think we can fudge it because we used the white glue. So let's just go ahead and put that on, and we're not gonna think too hard about this. Oh, perfect. Look at that. This packaging paper might not really show, but so I feel like this needs something underneath it to separate it from the background. So I'm trying to think about what would work here. So give me a quick second to waffle more about that. I feel like it just needs another piece of packaging or something. Okay, I've got a piece of this. Let's do this. Just need a little bit of separating of color here. Hoping that's making some sense to you guys. It's one of those things that's kind of hard to explain. But see how we're creating some separation between the layers? That's a little bit too wide. We just need it to peek out behind her. Okay. Just a smidge. Yes. Like that. So I'm just going to tear a little piece off the bottom. This is weird paper, so it can be sort of hard to tear. Whoops. One. There we go. Yes. Okay, let's ink this up. And it's bringing out some of the colors in the background around the girl, so that's a plus. So let's go ahead and just glue her on there. Shall we put a little piece of that lace too? I think so. I think so. Do I have a tiny piece? Oh, we didn't use the vellum. Bummer. Well, that sometimes happens. We're at the point where we're just about finished, and so we have to just kind of keep on going here. Yeah, let's put that on first. So I'm going to use a little bit of Fabri-Tac. So small. Oh my goodness gracious. Does this go in? I think we're at the closest we can get with the camera. And I don't have the ability to adjust my visual. I'm like just manually moving my camera anymore because I got a different arm. So you sometimes lose things that you preferred when you make changes, and that was one of the things that I lost, but I gained more than I lost. So alrighty, so let's glue her on. Just gonna get her on there, and we can kind of move it around. Whoops, move it around here. Beautiful. Yes. I wonder if we can get that vellum. Look at that. That is absolutely adorable. Can we get the vellum on there? Can we? What do you think? Oh, we got some paint on the back of it. That's okay. Well, let's just capitalize on that. Let's put some on there on purpose. I don't know if we're going to use it or not, but let's just do it. Okay. Get some baby wipe here. Okay. So let's see if we can make space for this. I really don't know if I want to though, because I feel like it's a lot. So let me hold that there. Put this on, although it is very pretty. Let's do it. I like it. Let's do it. So I'm just going to put some, I am going to use a Fabri-Tac because it's a little bit heavy with that texture paste. So we're just going to go for it. And we lost our packaging, but that sometimes happens as well. And we're going to glue this girl on. And then we are going to be done. So in the next video, we will start working on the ephemera, and we're going to be working on it while it is outside of the journal, as I mentioned. So we're going to be working on it just in this state. And then we'll just continue to evaluate what we're doing. And I love that so much. Look at that. Oh my goodness gracious, that is adorable. I'm just going to give that a press. So friends, I will see you in the next video. I will try to adjust my camera next time, bring my arm down. I just have to do that. It's kind of an ordeal. So I can get closer to the table, because as you can see, that's as close as I can get. Okay, so it is what it is. So I will see you in the next video, where we will continue on with this sweet little miniature laptop journal. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye.